Road to the Pros episode, I think this is episode 6 now. It's been like a month since I've done one of these guys, so I thought, man, we gotta do one of these guys. And I am actually, you might be able to tell by the placard there on the window, but I'm actually at Starbucks, and I'm stuck over here kind of in the corner, and this place is packed. And so this was kind of the only seat that they had, and I got the sun obviously shining right in my eyes, so you guys will have to excuse the fact that I'll probably have one eye open and one eye shut for pretty much this whole episode. But you know, I'm sitting here. I got my latte macchiato. You know, I had the microphone in the car, and so I was like, man, I'm gonna go into Starbucks. I snuck away from the kids. I snuck away from the wife, and I was like, I'm gonna knock out a couple of videos, man, at least one. And we'll see. You guys might see me in the same setup for a couple of videos here, but let's hope that my claw kind of stays still. But Road to the Pros, episode 6. So this is obviously a video I've been meaning to do for a little while, kind of keeping with, you know, episode 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and now 6. And the title or the content of the video here today is, I kind of wanted to talk a little bit about, so I've been training for a long time. I've been competing, it's 2018, and I've been competing since 2001 is when I did my very first show. So it's been a long journey. And so I thought I would take a minute and talk about what are some of the things I wish I would have done differently. So if I could go back and I could start over, what would I do differently? I think that might be kind of interesting and might have some value for you guys that are just starting out, that are kind of, you know, have been training for a few years. You're wondering if you're doing things right. You're wondering if you're doing things wrong. You know, whatever. I thought, hey, it's kind of interesting, right? Let me share my ideas as to where I feel I made mistakes, and we'll just see where it goes. You know, I would say with all the mistakes I've made, this video should be, I don't know, 2-3 hours long maybe. But I don't know. We'll see. The first one that pops into my head right away is, as a bodybuilder, I really wish I would have taken my off seasons more seriously. So I really wish I would have taken, you know, normally when you train for a show, you train for like, you know, 10 or 12 or 15 or 16 or 20 weeks, but then you're off for like months and months and months, and sometimes years. I really wish I would have taken my off seasons more seriously. I really wish I would have been as diligent with my off seasons as far as both training, nutrition, cardio, recovery, like all these different things. I really wish I would have just taken that time more seriously. I think I would be a lot more advanced relative to where I am now. I think I would be in just a much better spot, just overall. But I didn't, you know, and I can't do anything about it now. But for those of you guys out there that might be competitive bodybuilders, you know, yourselves, or even if you just, you know, have something that you're training for, you want to get in shape, you want to lose fat, you want to do whatever, and you reach your goal and that time expires, don't let up off the pedal too much. You know, there's obviously a time for rest, there's a time for recovery, and there is a time to throttle down. But I've spent way too much time just kind of bouncing around and not having, you know, a clear path, not having clear goals in the off season. You know, kind of like I do now. Like you know, it's 2018, I'm taking the rest of the year off, and I kind of have clear goals for this year. I have a much clearer vision. I've kind of been a bonehead and a goober for these last few months, but I feel like I'm finally getting my legs underneath me and kind of starting to build up some momentum. So the first mistake that jumps out at me is I wish I would have taken my off seasons more seriously. The second mistake that jumps out at me is I did way too much steady state cardio, just way too much. And so, I mean, you can ask my roommate, man, ask Anthony. Find Anthony Stalter and, you know, Facebook him or tweet him or whatever. He actually, he hosts a sports radio show in St. Louis that airs in the afternoons. I think it's on from like 1 o'clock to 3 o'clock. So find him, call into the show and ask him, and he'll tell you. He will corroborate what I'm about to say. There were seasons, there were bodybuilding competitions where I would spend like 2.5, 3, 3.5 hours per day doing steady state cardio. I would primarily just walk around the campus, or I'd walk around the city or whatever. But I spent so much time just doing steady state cardio. Way too much. And, you know, I got light, I got lean, you know, I didn't look that impressive, to be honest with you. I lost a lot of like body weight. I lost a lot of scale weight, but I honestly didn't look that good when it was all said and done. And I think a part of that reason is because of all the steady state cardio I did. Because cardio has a time and a place, there's no question. And steady state cardio has a time and a place. But what happens is when you, and this kind of was going to lead into the third mistake that I made, but when you combine a lot of steady state cardio with low calories and weight training sessions that aren't really that challenging, that are really focused on kind of lightweight, high rep type stuff to kind of, you know, burn fat or tone your muscle or whatever the case may be. I did all those things. I did all those things in conjunction with one another for several years when I started out early in my bodybuilding career. And as a result, I think I just dumped a ton of muscle. I just, you know, my body just chewed through muscle like it was going out of style. I also think I did a lot of metabolic damage. Like I really kind of damaged my metabolism, because when you do a lot of steady state cardio, there's some science to show us that your cortisol levels will spike. Your cortisol levels will sometimes get really high, and that's not what you want if you're trying to build muscle or protect muscle. And so again, you compare that with not having a lot of calories, so your muscles aren't fueled, and then not, you know, challenging and stimulating your muscles to, you know, forget building new muscle fiber, just hang on to the muscle fiber they have. With heavy weight training sessions, you don't have that in the mix, and you've got a dangerous recipe for, you know, losing a lot of muscle and maybe losing a lot of weight like I did, but finding yourself in a situation where you don't really like the way you look, which I think a lot of people actually fall into this trap. They get so tied into just cardio and calories and, you know, those kind of things that they just want to lose weight. They don't really care. They're like, I don't care about muscle. I don't care about building muscle. I don't care about keeping muscle. I just want to lose this weight. Which, don't get me wrong, I mean, for overall health reasons, you know, if you're 30 pounds overweight, only being 5 pounds overweight or 10 pounds overweight is probably a lot better. So let's go ahead and get that out there. But I've seen a lot of people actually lose the weight and then say, yeah, I don't look like I thought I would look. And I kind of experienced that early on in my career. And so that's one thing I wish I wouldn't have done. I wish I wouldn't have spent so many years kind of doing that, thinking that was the way. But, you know, I mean, we live and we learn. And so, let's see, those are a few. Another one that just pops into my head right now is specifically related to bodybuilding. So for the last shows I did in August, one of the things I did was I took really good notes on the final couple of days, like around, I did 2 shows back to back on, like, you know, the week leading up to the show, the day of the show, the night before the show, the morning of the show, just all these different things, right? Like, you know, this is how much water I had, this is how much sodium I had, this is how I feel, this is how I think I look, this is how I actually look, like all these different things. And man, that is so valuable. Like when it comes around for me to compete again in 2019, I'm gonna bust out those notes and I'm gonna use them to get better. And I've done that for the last couple of shows. So I did that for the 2 in August, but I've done it for the couple before then too. And that helped me with these shows in August. But man, those first, I don't know, half a dozen, 8, 9 shows that I did not do anything like that. I was so eager and anxious to be at the end and for it to be over, to be quite frank with you guys, that I did not want to take the time to just script out my thoughts. You know, script out thoughts that you will forget. Script out these little subtleties and nuances that are unique to the final moments before a bodybuilding show that unless you stop and capture that moment, you will not remember. And so it would be really cool for me to see what I thought and felt and all the little things I experienced before my first couple of shows. Not even really from a learning standpoint, although it would probably teach me a lot. But I'd be really curious to know what my mindset was like because I'm telling you guys, man, when I was, let me think, it was 2001, so I guess I was 20, or it was March of 2001, so I was 19. I thought I was pretty awesome, man. Like, I thought I was pretty sweet. Like, I went into that show, and I thought I was going to win. Like, I was convinced I was going to win. I was like, oh, yeah, dude, like, this is going to be easy. Like, I've trained so hard. I've transformed my body, and I had from where I had started. But there were 9 guys in my class, and I got completely embarrassed. Like, I got totally gorilla smacked. Like, I was standing up on stage. I literally looked like I did not even belong up there. Like, I literally looked like I had not even worked out relative to these other guys. And so that was quite a lesson for me to learn, to be really curious for me to actually, you know, what were my actual thoughts in that moment? Like, what was I actually feeling, you know? So what else? Oh, man, this is good. So when I first started, like, training, and when I first started, like, competing as a bodybuilder, the thing that actually got me into bodybuilding was I read Arnold Schwarzenegger's biography, and I read his biography, and just his story got me so inspired to step on stage. But I had no idea what to do from a nutritional standpoint. Like, I literally had no clue what to do nutritionally, like protein, carbs, fat. I didn't know anything from anything, and so I was like, all right, what am I going to do? Well, reading Arnold's biography, it was like this really, really thin little paperback book. It was only like 100 pages long, and so I burned right through it. But he actually said something similar. He actually said, yeah, when I started out, I did not know what to do nutritionally. He said, so I kept it really, really simple. If it tasted good, I didn't eat it. If it didn't taste good, I ate as much of it as I possibly could. And I said, that's what I'm going to do. I said, that is absolutely what I'm going to do. I said, that keeps it really simple. That just makes a lot of sense if you think about it, right? If you think about, like, you know, like what people deem as, like, you know, healthy food and whatever, like broccoli doesn't really taste that good. Cauliflower doesn't really taste that good. You know, chicken doesn't really taste that good, although it does to me now. But, like, back in the day, like, bland, like, boiled chicken, like where I started with, like, no, that doesn't taste good at all, you know? But, like, cake tastes pretty good. Brownies taste pretty good. Pizza's pretty good. So it's like, all right, if I stay away from those things, this should probably work. Well, that's how I dieted for years. Like, the first, I don't know, let me think. Definitely through my undergrad years. So that takes me through 04. I would say I started to make the change around 06, 07, 08, maybe. Maybe not even that soon. Maybe it was like 08, 09, 010 or something like that. But anyway, for the first while in my bodybuilding career, I felt very strongly that if it tasted good, you could not eat it. If it tasted good and you ate it, you were doing something wrong. You were a failure, and you just didn't want it badly enough. And so, you know, that was back in, like, the tuna fish and applesauce days, and, like, you know, back in, like, the canned peas days, back in the, oh yeah, I mean, boiled chicken, no salt, no pepper. Like, salt, you can't eat salt, dude. Are you serious? You can't eat salt, bro. Like, that's how I used to feel. And so I really wish I could have some of that time back, you know, in a playful way. I mean, it's all part of the journey, right? But, man, I spent so many years where anything that tasted good was just forbidden. And as a result, what would happen is, you know, whenever I would have, like, a treat day or, like, a cheat meal or a cheat day or whatever, I would just go ballistic. I would just go berserk, because I was like, yeah, I'm like Adam and Eve, you know, in the Garden of Eden, like, holding the forbidden fruit. You know, it's like, all right, I get to have what I haven't been able to have. Like, I'm gonna maximize this moment. So there were so many times when I would just eat until I was physically in pain. Like, I would not stop until I was in pain. And that was my cue to maybe slow down. Not stop, but just kind of yield. Just kind of pump the brakes a little bit, and then you keep pushing harder to the end. And so that was definitely a big mistake I made. And once I kind of figured out that, you know, there's absolutely nothing wrong with enjoying your food. There's nothing wrong with it at all. I mean, I am talking about macros, sort of, but leaving macros out of it, I mean, there's just nothing wrong with enjoying your food. And, you know, that brings a lot more variety. that brings a lot more enjoyment, obviously, from your food. And I actually think for me too, it's really helped me, you know, curtail the need or the episodes where I've just gone ballistic and just gone all out. Don't get me wrong, that still happens from time to time, if I'm being real with you guys. And so, you know, that's all part of the thing. But in the beginning, when I would just eat like tuna fish and applesauce all day, when it finally came to treat day, I went absolutely just out of my mind, and that was totally unnecessary. And so, let's think. Well, I already kind of talked about, you know, the lightweight, high rep type stuff, feeling like that burned fat. There's nothing there, man. There's nothing there at all. You want to burn fat, I mean, you really got to. It's all about nutrition, and it's a little bit about cardio, but fat burning, your time in the gym, I really wish I would have dedicated my time in the gym to building muscle, my time out of the gym to burning fat. Like, if you guys want a really, really simple, straightforward, cut and dry way to look at it, that is absolutely how I would look at it. If I could somehow like teleport back in time and talk to my 18-year-old self and say, Jim, seriously, man, that hour to 2 hours you spend a day in the gym, build muscle. Use the other 22 hours a day to burn fat, and you're gonna be just fine. That would have saved me a lot of time, and it would have accelerated my progress significantly. And let's see, is there anything else? I don't know. Speaking about maximizing time, I gotta maximize this time outside the house.
No, they try to be.
Oh yeah, one more, man, and then we'll shut this down. We're creeping up on 20 minutes, and I don't know that all these people around me are enjoying listening to episode 6 of Road to the Pros. I hope they are. I hope this motivates them to check out episodes 1 through 5, thinking, all right, yeah, what did I miss? But when I first started bodybuilding, when I first started training seriously, I was so rigid with everything. Like, I really felt like, hey, that kind of feels good. But I felt like, hey, man, there was one way to do this. There was one way to do this, and only one way to do this. And if you don't adhere to that 100%, then you just don't want it badly enough. So that meant like my training was was very strictly programmed, was very regimented. My eating was like to the minute, man. And that was back when I really felt like small meals more frequently burned more fat, like it sped up your metabolism, like it shrunk your stomach, all that rigmarole. That's just not true. There's just nothing there. I felt that way, so I would eat 8, 9, 10 times a day. And I literally would not leave the house if I was afraid there was any chance I would miss a meal. And I did this for months and months on end when I was in season. And as a result, you know, a lot of my college years were spent kind of in that mode and in that mind frame. And I don't begrudge choosing bodybuilding when I was in college, because in a lot of ways it's made me the man I am today. I just wish I would have bodybuilded the way I do now then, because I'm so much more flexible. And there's just no reason to be that rigid. There's no reason to be a hermit. There's no reason to be just super isolated and just close yourself off, because I think a lot of people, a lot of bodybuilders actually, they think that that's more hardcore, and they think that you know, gives them some kind of status and something that they can kind of claim a stake on. I think they almost wear it proudly as a badge of honor. And I'm saying that because of A, what I see in the bodybuilding community today, and B, that's exactly how I felt when I did it. Like, I felt like, hey, don't mess with me, man. Like, I gotta get my meals done. This is very serious. Like, you know, and in a way that made me better than you, to be honest with you, if I'm just being real, as a very, very sinful Christian here. You know, I felt there was definitely a superiority complex, you know, back in the day with an 18, 19, 20, 21-year-old Jay Schultz. And, you know, I really wish, I mean, from just a grace and mercy and love standpoint, I wish I would have done things differently. But from a practical nutrition progress standpoint, there's no reason to do any of that. It's absolutely unnecessary. And so, I don't know, man, I think that might be it, because I am just straight up clay bacon in this seat right here. And so, I don't know, man, I really hope this was useful for you guys. This was much longer than the previous episode, so I hope you guys made it all the way through. If you did, I really appreciate you guys. I appreciate you guys so much. I might do another video here, I'm not sure. We'll see. But as always, if you guys want to follow me on social media, that would be awesome. I'm at JSchultzF30. on Instagram, on Twitter, on Facebook. Every Tuesday night, Autumn and I do a live open forum for fitness, finance, and faith. We've been doing that for a couple of months now, and it's gotten a little traction. It's picked up a little momentum, and it's been a lot of fun for us. Whether there's 1, 2, or 3 people watching, or 10, or 12, or 15, it's been a lot of fun for us. So check that out. Tuesday nights, 8:15. I just recently started a podcast, and so you guys can check that out on iTunes. If you search F Cubed, I think I'm like the top hit, which is pretty sweet. And so search F Cubed, or if you check out any of my social media, you'll find a link to one of them. I mean, I would give you guys the link here now, but I can't, obviously. It'll be in the, if you go below, kind of like a Blake Shelton. I'll drop a Blake Shelton on you guys. If you kind of go below in the description, you'll find a link to the podcast. And so subscribe to the YouTube channel if you haven't done it already. And I don't know, man. I think that's it. I think that's all I got for you guys. So God bless, and we'll see you on the flip side. Hey guys, thanks for watching. Really appreciate it. Penelope, say thanks.
Thanks.
Yep. If you guys want to subscribe to my YouTube channel, or like the Facebook page, or follow me on Instagram, Twitter at JSchultzF3, whatever you guys can do, man. I really appreciate you guys. We'll see you next time.